ready for two wild guys throwing out spicy ideals on fantasy football. Welcome back to the Dynasty Football Maniac, just at your old risk.
All right, we took a little break. A lot of excitement over the summer. Now me and Austin's back. I got one episode out there where I'm doing a draft, and then right now today we're going to cover our free agency. So if everybody remembers, we did a free agency episode 67 on March 8th. And this year I got to put my head down and say, "Oh, good God, I was way off on everything." Austin did a little bit better, but he still ain't beat my 51%. Just remember that. I still
Oh,
had
good grief.
51% for 2024. Uh,
Oh, well, that correct me if I'm wrong, but what year is this year?
this is 2025. So,
Okay,
so
okay, so
2025, I got a big fat 0%. Okay.
all right. As
Big
long as
fat
we get that
zero.
out. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I only have two players still outstanding that's still free agency that haven't signed. Jamal Williams is still a free agent, and James Bradbury is still a free agent. And I projected Jamal Williams to go to the Browns, but I doubt very much that's going to happen now. And I don't think James Bradbury is going to go to the Jets either. So the two are still out there. They ain't signed with the respectful teams, so they're still loose cannons.
Hmm.
Over here on the Austin side, so I guess you guys are wondering which ones did I get wrong. Well, I got Russell Wilson wrong. I got Gardner Minshew wrong. I got Mac Jones wrong. I got J.K. Dobbins wrong. I got Devontae Adams wrong. I got Tyler Lockett wrong. And even Ingram wrong. Joey Bosa wrong. Harry Landry wrong. And Darius Slay wrong. So it is what it is. You guys can see where they went and who I guessed it at. Like I thought Russell Wilson was going to go to the Titans. He went to the Giants. I mean, who would have seen that? Gardner Minshew, I just figured he was a loose cannon. They were going to just throw away at Las Vegas. I figured Giants were so desperate they'd pick him up. I never thought they were that desperate to go for Russell Wilson. But instead, the Chiefs grabbed an injured guy. And then Mac Jones, I thought he was going to join his buddy down in Miami. No, they put him on the West Coast. He went to San Francisco 49ers. Who knew that was going to happen? And why didn't Dallas go out and get the great J.K. Dobbins? I have no idea. But the Broncos said, hey, we'll take him. You guys are losers. And then Devontae Adams, I thought he was. I got the area right, just got the team wrong. I said L.A., just not the right L.A. team. I thought the Chargers, they went to the Rams, and then Tyler Lockett, Raiders. He ended up going to the Titans, which I didn't see that coming. I figured he'd join his little buddy over there. Evan Ingram, I didn't think him going to the Broncos either. Broncos are really trying to build a team, I think. And Joey Bosa, I thought he would go to the Bengals. He went to the Bills, which is a really good fit. And Harry Landry going to the Patriots, I could see that. He's a good defensive linebacker. Yeah, definitely. And I had him going to the Cardinals. And Darius Slay, I thought the Commanders would pick him up, but nope, the Steelers did. Now I got to talk about the other guy.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so let's keep this in mind. He got 3 right so far. He's got a couple free agents that could still possibly land where he guessed it, but I doubt very much looking at the teams he guessed. But who knows? He might have that magic group. He might get that 51%. I don't think
Hey,
he will.
I don't give a damn about the 50%. All I need is 1% to beat you, and that's all that matters.
And he done a very good job at doing it this year. So he decided to pick Sam Darnold going to the Seahawks. That was the obvious one. I let him have that, and that was right.
Mm.
And then Austin over here, he picked Sam Darnold going to Seahawks. Justin Fields, you got totally wrong. He didn't go back to the Steelers. I knew that. I just didn't want to tell you that. He went to the
Oh,
Jets.
whatever.
I didn't think he'd go to the Jets. I thought he'd go to a better team than that. Aaron Jones. I did not really think Aaron Jones. I mean, I didn't see this. He ended up at the Steelers. I mean,
Aaron Jones?
yeah.
No, he's still with the Vikings.
I looked him up. He went to the Steelers. Hold on.
Unless something happened, I just don't remember.
Well, you had him going to the Broncos. Well, he didn't go to the Broncos.
Mm-mm.
So hold on. I don't
'Cause
think I would have.
if
I
I'm
would
not
have went.
mistaken, they kept Aaron Jones and then they traded the 49ers for they traded I think it was Jordan Mason. They traded for to back up Aaron Jones and to potentially take over.
Still at Minnesota. Okay, so you got that one wrong. I just got to fix my list. I don't know why I put the Steelers in there.
Ah,
He stayed with Minnesota, and that's write that down here. Vikings. I couldn't remember what they were. It's one of them teams you never pay attention to.
yeah.
Oh, Vikings. All right. Then Najee Harris, you had him going to the Raiders. He ended up going to the Chargers. All right, you got the Chris Godwin right. He did re-sign with the Buccaneers. Amari Cooper still free agent. You have him projected to go to the Commanders. I doubt very much he's going to go there. Josh Sweat, you projected him to go to the Bears. He went to the Cardinals. Khalil Mack, you had him projected to go to the Buccaneers. He went to the Chargers, which was a shocker. I didn't see that one going him to the Chargers, but okay. Drew Glenlaw, you had him projected to the 49ers. He went to the Broncos. I like that. And Nick Bolton did re-sign with the Chiefs. Javion Holling, you have him going to the Jets. He went to the Giants. And the other one that's still a free agent is Asante Samuels Jr. You got him projected going to the Patriots, which could still happen. No telling what could happen in the next couple weeks. We still got almost 2 months until football starts. So any one of these guys can land. I might get that 1%, but we'll see. Please tune in and you can go back and watch March 8th episode, episode 67, and see what we talked about and see how it all landed this year. I need to hit save on this because I made a mistake on one. I put down, I have no idea why I thought Aaron Jones went to the Steelers. That would have been great in a way. I mean, I'd have loved that. I mean,
I wouldn't since I have Jalen Warren as one of my guys, so it would have sucked for me.
Yeah, for you it would have. Jalen Warren would have sucked. All right, so today's episode, what we're going to do is for the next couple weeks, next couple episodes we're going to try to break down each division and kind of talk about what some of the highlights we've seen, some shockers, and who we think is going to win that division for the upcoming season. And then also just kind of cover any highlighted news. Now, say we cover one division and something comes out next week about that division that we think is reportable and important to say to everybody because it's fantasy related, we'll bring it up. If not, we're going to keep chugging along. So, Austin let me pick out the division today, and I am going to pick out my favorite division. I'm going to pick out AFC North. It's not my favorite. I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm going to pick out the AFC North for this fact is that to me has so much going on. We'll talk about it now. We'll probably talk about some of these teams throughout the season.
Will you allow me to pick the team we start talking about first since I let you pick the division?
Sure. Which team would you like to talk about? You can't pick the winner. We all know who the winner is.
Well, we're going to give our projections out for this division at the end of this. But
all right. Go ahead. Talk.
I see. I want to go two ways. Do I want to get the bad team out of the way, or do I want to get the interesting team out of the way first?
You get the interesting team out of the way. What you think is interesting?
All right, fine. Let's go ahead. Let's start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers. All right. So we're going to talk about the Steelers.
So I think they're the most interesting team in this division this year. I don't know if you agree with me or not.
No, I think Cleveland is, but.
Oh, you think Cleveland is?
Yes, but this is the second most interesting team.
Okay, well, the reason why I'll give you my reason. The reason why I think this is an interesting team is because, we're going to go on this last hoorah with Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to get all these, we're getting all these players, which by this way the Steelers are looking, they're trying to make, I think Mike Tomlin is trying to go for one last hoorah. Because I think if they have another mediocre season just like they've had, and I know Mike Tomlin has been, he's been an outstanding coach. I mean, he's had 18 winning seasons, but the Steelers haven't won a playoff game since 2016. And I think the front office is this. We noticed it and saw some things earlier after this offseason this past year, but I think it's starting to wear on the front office and it's starting to wear on. I know it's definitely wearing on the fans. So I think he's starting to feel for the first time in his career, really actually feeling some pressure. So there's a lot of interesting moves, in my opinion. But since I chose the team, I'll let you give your thoughts on them, and then we'll start talking about what players you're really excited for and stuff.
Yeah, so that is interesting because I noticed something. It's kind of hard to tell who's going to be the starter and who's not. And usually you can get an idea. You go to the sleeper app, see who they have listed one. You can go to our lads and see who has listed one. And I did a little study throughout the week. And some of it's dead on, and then some of it's all over the place. So if you go to sleeper app right now, it'll show Caleb Johnson as the running back one, and Jalen Warren as two. But if you go to our lads, it'll have Jalen Warren as one and Caleb Johnson as two, which is interesting because I think preseason will dictate who's going to start. I honestly think Caleb Johnson will probably end up winning that back room. Nothing against Jalen Warren. He's a good running back. I don't think he's the same caliber as Caleb Johnson. Uh, so wherever you get your information, the NFL side ain't really going to give you anything right now because a lot of the stuff ain't finalized yet. So you just got to go out there and see who's who. But it makes sense naming him. That's going to be interesting. I like that whole running back. I'm surprised Najee Harris left, and I think Pittsburgh encouraged him to leave. So
Oh, they did.
they did, and I get it. But what I did like was the pickup that a lot of people didn't pay attention to for the Steelers. Robert Woods. Don't count the old man out. He's a great wide receiver for Houston until the injury. And yeah, they added some great health to that whole wide receiver room in Houston with Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, which he's done gone, and other people. I mean, that whole room is totally different. And not just even in the draft this year, they picked good wide receivers. So Houston is healthy with young wide receivers. So Robert Woods had to go find another job, and he did. He got a job at the Steelers, and yes, he got that starting job. And it looks like on both rosters, on both clicks here. Oh no, they don't have him as number one on. Nope, they have him as number two on a sleeper. They have Roman Wilson ahead of him on sleeper, but on
Well,
our lads, they have Robert Woods.
I,
I
personally,
think Roman Wilson did not do that great last year. He might pick it up this year. He might win the spot, but I can see
so,
Robert Woods kind of teaching him the path and really helping him out in his career. Maybe that's the push he needs.
so I think, in my opinion, I think the player you really need to be highlighting here, and a lot of people are kind of, you know, first time in a long time, they're actually, it's kind of like underrated, really. But I can't believe I'm saying it, but DK Metcalf.
Yeah,
I
wide
mean,
receiver one.
they trade, he got traded away from the Seahawks, went to the Steelers. Obviously, this was before we had an idea Aaron Rodgers was, dropping hints, doing his slow man thing like he does every off season. And then at first we were literally looking at just it like being between Mason Rudolph and then whoever rookie they were going to get in the draft, because we also had rumors that they were going to get somebody regardless if it's later in the rounds or what. But after everything is said and done, Aaron Rodgers is starter, and I do believe that whether you believe in Aaron Rodgers or not, he is going to pepper DK Metcalf. I think he's going to have majority of the targets.
I think
I
any of them quarterbacks would pepper DK. DK has natural hands. I mean, any one
Yes,
of them quarterbacks would benefit. If, say, something happened to Aaron Rodgers, and hypothetically, one Sean Will Howard is the second and the other one is showing no, they're both got Mason Rudolph as second, but that's fine. Either one of them, if they pepper DK, he's going to be your highest. He is going to be better than what Deontay Johnson was or any other wide receiver they had in the last at least what 3 years. Um,
True, true. Personally, I would rather have Aaron Rodgers throwing a DK. That's just my opinion.
I do too. I
Because
agree.
I know, because at least with Aaron Rodgers, I know he's going to place it in the balls where most quarterbacks can't do. But with Aaron Rodgers, though, you got here's how I see the share going.
Yeah,
This is just me, anyways. But DK is going to get the bulk of it, and then Aaron Rodgers, he likes his tight ends. So, but he's got two tight ends now because it was originally just Pat Fryermuth, but
yeah,
then they traded to get Jonnu Smith. So that's going to be interesting how that tight end situation goes. But either way, he's going to throw it to DK a lot. Now he's going to throw it to Pat or Jonnu a lot, depending on how that works.
yeah. It's going to be either one. That's
But
that's a big question mark with the Steelers right now.
he's also a big guy of dropping it down to the running back.
Yep.
So, that's also going to be where Jane Warren and Caleb Johnson comes into play. Now, overall, I think Caleb Johnson is going to win the battle. I just think for right now, Jalen Warren will get the veteran, nudge, and he'll be starting. But I still think Caleb Johnson is going to take over that now, with it be during the preseason or be 1 week, 2 weeks, however many weeks in. That's still to be determined. But overall, I still think he's going to take it over. But regardless, I would still, if you need a running back, you can, in all honesty, you could get both of them and stash one of them as a handcuff to help you out. That way, if one gets hurt or if there's a transition, then you're not out there in the waiver wires like, oh no, I gotta hopefully find somebody that's at least starting.
And
You
right now
already
that
have the
running back,
replacement.
yeah, and right now that running back room is huge right there in Pittsburgh. I mean, you got Jalen Warren, Caleb Johnson, Kenneth Greenwell, Trey Sermon, which we probably won't even see him.
Are you
Evan
worried about the?
Hall.
Are you worried about them other ones though?
No, I'm not worried about none of them. I'm just naming
Mm,
them off for injuries.
I
Evan
got you.
Hall was he signed as a non-drafted running back, and then another one that did that was Max Hurlman, and then Cordell Patterson was from Atlanta. Honestly, I think the back half of that will probably end up on practice teams. It's a question of who will end up on the practice teams. A lot of them are past their times. Quarterbacks, I was shocked that they signed Skylar Thompson undrafted, but then I guess you would want kind of four quarterbacks, and he'll probably go to the practice team. And Will Howard might end up going to a practice team in the mean weight because if Mason Rudolph wins the backup, he might be like that inactive guy that's sitting down there waiting to get active. I'm not sure what they plan on doing. Defense seems like they went out and filled some spots. They picked up Jalen Ramsey. I think the biggest exciting thing that happened. Well, they got the Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay from Philadelphia was an interesting pickup. And then they got one rookie there. That's a defensive end, Derek Harmon, as a starter. Most of the other guys are already playing, and I believe they'll get the TJ Watt deal done, and everything will be fine on that for this year. The one thing I would like to note, if you're in a league that has bonuses for punt returners, this is not the league you want to grab a punt returner in or a team. Austin Calvin and Kent Dante Kent and Kenneth Grain will all be sharing some punt returns and kick returns along with Jalen Warren. That means they're not going to be a focused guy. So in a punt return bonus league, you want to get the guy that's doing both punt return and kick return, or punt return and playing a position. Either one of them guys that are going to be the primary punt returner and kick returners or backups for the positions. Kenneth Gainwell could probably win that out. I doubt it. With all they want to get some of the young guys in there getting them touches. So yeah, so I mean that. Yeah, so out of this team, who do you think is the best pickup in your fantasy? Give me one player that's the best
I
pickup. IDP, DK.
Well, let me ask you something. Are you like, do you have a chip in my brain? Are you reading my mind or something? Because I was literally about to ask you that same question
Well, I want to
before.
hear yours, and then I'll give you mine.
Okay, so the one person out of this whole team that I would really get would be, honestly, I would get DK Metcalf because I really do truly believe he's going to get the most targets out of everybody on this offense. And I
Okay.
think I think he's underrated that where a lot of people are drafting him at stuff. I think he's gonna go higher than his ADP is right now. So I think he's a good pickup, especially with the later rounds. You could actually wait and pick him up around the 5 or 6 range.
All right,
So
I'm good with yeah, and I honestly think with TJ Watt having their fall off last year, I think his is going to be his biggest IDP year.
mm,
So if he plays, he's definitely going to be the guy. And I'll have to agree with you on offense. The biggest player out of Pittsburgh right now would be DK. That's who I'd be picking up.
all right.
So
What
let's
team
go
do
to the
you want?
next team. We're going to go to the team of teams. Let's talk about the Browns.
Oh God.
Ooh, the hot mess that is going on with the Browns. All right, this is my take. My biggest, and this is the one I was telling you about offline.
hmm
Biggest surprise was the pickup of Deontay Johnson. I think this is his chance to finally regain something what he lost a long time ago when he played with the Steelers. He was relevant as a wide receiver at one time, consistent, and then it just like he fell off. I'm sorry, I'm not big on Jerry Judy. I think Deontay Johnson has a chance to redeem himself, and this is his opportunity to do it again. But the question is who's going to be the quarterback to do it with him? That is an answer I'm not going to give you today because I have no clue. I really don't know. I don't think we even know the player that's on
And
the team yet that will
in
be the
all
quarterback.
in all honesty, for fantasy, I'm hoping it's Joe Flacco. Just because Joe Flacco can produce us fantasy weapons out of this team. If it's anyone else, I really don't have no faith in a lot of these people and most of these people because I just don't know about the rookies yet. And can you pick it? Can you pick it? But for fantasy, I hope it's Joe because we know who he is and we know who we're getting. Football wise, okay, whatever, yeah, we're going to be a mediocre team anyways, regardless of who's quarterbacking this. And I hope you're right about Deontay Johnson because that man has done had several chances with several other teams.
Well, wide receivers are like that. You do have your steady Jamar Chases and your uh
Did you see the comment he made about the reason why he didn't really play in Baltimore? It was
no,
it was cause it was too cold.
because it was too cold.
Too cold.
No shit. Oh, I
No
mean, I
shit.
mean, really,
I've heard that today.
that
And
can't be true because he's going
I,
to Cleveland. It's going to be cold up there.
look, man, there's he's got chances.
All right, let's. We don't want to spend too long on this, so let's. We got two other teams to talk about. Uh, that's crazy. That's so
Hey,
bad that
man.
my earbuds spit out. Uh, no, I wasn't spitting up either. Um, so let's see. So I'm looking at this team. It's a mess in the quarterback room. I don't even know how to talk about it. I'm not sure who's going to be it. And I do agree with you. Joe Flacco would be the best producer. The shocker, I think, out of all that was I'm picking up Deontay Johnson. I like that pickup. But it also Cleveland Browns is also where wide receivers go to do nothing. So many wide receivers that had great talent went there and did nothing. So it could happen again. It could be nothing. Deshaun Watson, if anybody has any hopes or put their money on that, it's going to happen. It's not going to happen. Let me just wake you up from that dream. And if you had a dream about that, then we need to have a serious talk. And then the Saunders and the Dylan and Gabriel thing, who knows? I mean, that whole hot mess is going on. What is interesting is Sleeper has Quinshawn Junkins as the lead back with Dylan Sampson and then Jerome Ford. But our lads have Jerome Ford with Quinshawn Junkins and Dylan Sampson. We'll see when the season starts. I honestly think Quinshawn Junkins is the running back one.
I think they're just doing that veteran thing again, just like they're doing with Jalen Warren. They're gonna put him on the depth chart, starting one, just because he's got that veteran presence since he's been there. But when it comes down to it, the rookies are gonna wind up taking over both of them backfields.
Well, you wait till we get to another team on this that has a rookie as a running back one, which was not what I expected. So, but then Sleeper has it the other way. So it's like when one has the running back rookie as.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why I only. Lads has been very reliable for me for years, so that's the reason why I've always stuck with Lads, because Sleeper is just so funny. I mean,
Well, okay, so if you go with our lads, and I know this is out of the divisions we're talking, but since I brought it up, and it would be unfair to the audience without me mentioning
I'll allow it this time.
What running back do you think is running back one, but is not running back one on Sleeper, and he's a rookie?
Is it RJ Harvey?
No, I might be, but there's another one I'm thinking of, not him.
Oh, okay. So he's a rookie. He's a rookie, and then he's projected one on our lads, but not on Sleeper. Is it a Mario Hampton?
It might have been our Mario Hampton. Let me look.
It's been a minute since I looked at these, so.
Well, I thought it was Trevion Henderson, but I went over there. They had done swapped it back. It might be the other way for Trevion Henderson. But let me see, because me and
no, you're right, because they did at one point have on our lads they had Trevion Henderson on as number one.
Well, they got it swapped back to
on Sleeper they had Ramondre Stevenson, but then I think it wasn't not too long ago they switched on our lads. They switched him on Ramondre, but I mean they definitely switched him because of all the news that's been coming out there. They really like Ramondre out there and stuff. So, but that's another topic for when we get to that division.
Yeah. So if you got a punt returner special, last year he didn't do that great, but this year he might be worth picking up, and that's Deandre Carter. Was picked up from Chicago. He's the punt returner and the kick returner, and he's also the backup for Deontay Johnson. So that means he will be on the field some. That is one of them sleepers that, like, when you're in a sleeper league that has a bonus for a punt returner, that's the guy you want on your bench, because one day he might pull out 40 points because of all the punt returns he does. Plus, he plays a little bit on the snapshots, and then sometimes he don't. But that's one thing you look at these roster depth charts to see who's the primary punt returner. Now that does change through the season, depending on performance. I mean, if they can't punt return, guess what? They bench them because it's important that they keep the ball in their hands. But his backup is Jerome Ford for kick return, and but if he's not playing on the field, he'll probably do both returns. So usually if they got him listed as punt return or kick return, he's usually out there for both, unless something weird happens.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this is on. Now, there's one thing I am excited about on the Browns, but it's on defense. Is their linebacker they drafted a Carson or it's just Swinger.
Yeah, Switchwinger.
I'm really excited about him. So,
and the fact that he's a middle linebacker, you should be excited because that's just as good as a safety.
I was looking into him. I actually got him in one of our rookie drafts that we just did. But honestly, out of all these players, to be honest with you, I'm gonna go ahead and just name out that one because I really don't have much on these terrible Browns to talk about because, like you put it in good points. Don't really know the quarterback situation, but if I had to choose one for to fantasy wise, I want Joe Flacco because then on offense, I would really want David Njoku if Joe Flacco is starting because we saw Joe Flacco play with David Njoku before and it turned out wonderful. But the main one I really want is the one I just named was Carson. That's who I'm really going to be interested in. That's who I would pick to do really good this year for the Browns.
And I'm going to go and say we got another Nick Chubb out there, and I would say pick up Quinshawn Junkins because he's going to take that back room over and he's just going to lay it out. It's going to be a whole different world.
Yep.
So let's go on to the next team. All right. So because we got two more teams to cover, and then we're going to tell you guys who we think is going to win. So just before I leave, remember I said, guys, hey, this is a punt returner. If you get a bonus, any kind of bonus for punt returning, this is a guy you want to pick up. Tight end wise, Njoku, yes. If it's a bonus, you want Njoku. Njoku's a good tight end, hands down. No matter if it's Flacco, Sanders, Gabriel Gillens, or whatever you want to call them, any of them guys, uh, they're gonna. And yeah, I noticed I didn't name Kenny Pickett. I'm so sorry that I forgot about that guy existed.
Oh,
But
he could be potentially cut or traded, so you don't know.
so I mean, any one of them guys would be great to pick up. So yeah, definitely. All
All right,
right,
I want to pick the next one.
go ahead, pick it.
I want to go the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, another great Ohioan team.
Yes, the better Ohio team.
That is the truth. The team that has greatness going
Because
on.
honestly, the greatest thing that the Browns have right now is Miles Garrett. Um,
That is probably some truth to that.
there's a lot of truth to that. It was Nick Chubb whenever he was playing along with the Miles Garrett, but we're not going to get into that. Anyways, the Cincinnati Bengals, man, oh man. Uh, this team is an exciting team, and I always watch their games because, well, I have Jamar Chase, and he is my rock. He is the shoulder that I cry on my fantasy team when all the rest of the team isn't doing so well. But in all honesty, man, here's the only thing that worries me with Cincinnati though, and they have done this a couple of years now, back to back, but they start off slow, like
Yeah.
like that offense starts off so slow, and it takes them at least week 6 or 7, and then they start firing on all cylinders, and that plays with my heartstrings. I really wish and hope this year that they start fast. Let's pick it up, you know, because Jamar Chase is so good, but he's only as good as that offense goes and Joe Burrow goes. And if you start off slow, then he's still going to get his points, but it's not going to be the points that you're expecting from choosing your top 3 fantasy pick if you do a startup draft on honestly Dynasty or redraft. I mean, he can fight for the number 1 spot on a lot of cases with some people in redraft. But yeah, but honestly, for fantasy wise, I hope that defense still sucks. Because if that defense sucks and then the Cincinnati is constantly having to play from behind, they will throw the ball constantly and Jamar will just get fed along with T. Higgins if T. Higgins can stay healthy. But Mike Gesicki actually did pretty good too because they re-signed him to a 2 or 3 year deal during the offseason.
Yep.
They bolstered up they got a couple of left guards. They got a couple of left guards and a left tackle that they had in the draft.
Yep.
So, I mean, they even got some defensive players in the draft as well, which I think it's going to help them a lot. I think the defense is going to be a little bit better. I still think they're going to be struggling a little bit. I think they'll be a middle tier defense this year instead of how they were last year. But I'm gonna go ahead and just name off my one guy, and then I'll let you have the floor on yours,
All right.
chat. But I mean, come on, it's Jamar Chase, man.
All right. So that's the obvious one out of the team. Jamar Chase. Everybody knows he's the number one wide receiver. Yes.
But
But
but that's not who I was gonna go with.
oh, okay.
It's Jamar Chase because it's obvious, but I honestly would go with Chase Brown.
That was the same guy I was going to pick as Chase Brown over.
Okay, because
So
I really didn't want to go with Jamar because it's so obvious. I don't have to, so I wanted to go a different route. So here's why I was like, Chase Brown, I think is going to do pretty good this year.
yeah, outside of the quarterback scoring, it's going to be Jamar Chase and then Chase Brown. They're going to be your top two scorers coming out. And I am still surprised that Jack Browning is still there at Cincinnati as a backup, as well as he did when he sat in for Joe Burrow the several times he did. I don't know how they convinced him to stay. And as much as other NFL teams needing a quarterback, I'm not sure what they don't see in him. And there's another quarterback out there I feel the same way about that plays for the Bears. It's a backup. But maybe I'm not an expert. I'm what Nick Saban calls a guy that sits in the basement in his underwear. But the only difference is I don't live with my mom. I live with my wife, and I got a mother-in-law and 5 children. So hey, I'm one step up. But yeah, but I do wear my boxers.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Bad if you knew I was going commando in this. Don't stand up, Ralph. Don't.
Please don't.
Oh,
that's funny.
But Jamar Chase, yes, it's an obvious. The next one is Chase Brown. I think he's the better running back. He did have that ankle injury towards the end of the season, but they're saying he's healthy coming into OTAs. He was good. Kind of watch him through preseason, see how he does. I'm sure they're going to nurse him, not push him. Be excited to see what he does. Another full running back room. I was shocked to see. I mean, this room is so huge. It's like, good God, you couldn't even fit in the room if they opened the door. I mean, think about it. They got Brown Chase, Zach Moss, Piron Samajay, Tajay Brooks, Kendall Milton, Gary Brightwell, and this other guy I've never even heard of, Conley Quill. Whatever they signed, it's a free agency they signed. But these guys will be practice team. They're not going to be your starters. On the defensive side, I did like the linebacker they picked up, Demetrius Knight from South Carolina.
That's my guy on the defense.
I would love to draft him, put him in my taxi squad in an IDP league, or even maybe draft him and have him since he's a starter in my bench spot. Trey Hendrickson, I don't know if they re-signed him yet or not.
They're still in negotiations right now. So, and he's already mentioned that he would be willing to sit out. So right now, we really have to keep an eye on that one. I know I will. I will because I have him in one of my Dynasty leagues. So trust me, I will keep everybody informed on how that goes.
The exciting thing is I have Murphy Miles on one of my taxi squad, but has him on my bench, which I was fixing to cut him. So he gives a chance to get him playing.
I am Trey Hendricks' agent, and I am working my best here, so I will keep you posted.
So this is a punt returner you'd want. Right now, they're naming one punt returner for kick returns and punt returns. So right now, I would take that gamble if you got that bonus to pick up a Charlie Jones, sit him on your bench, see what he does. Now, when I'm talking about this, guys, don't go out and draft all these punt returners thinking you're going to win a league if you got a bonus.
Yeah, you're gonna make them draft nothing but you're gonna make them draft nothing but punt returners.
But I'm just giving you hints on the teams that have a guy that's playing both. Because someone asked me, how do you find the gems? that do this. And the thing is you got to do your homework. You got to look at the roster. Not every team uses the same player for punt returns and kick returns. What you also got to look at is, are they playing a live position? So you'll get some that'll actually be starters, but be wide receiver 3. And they're doing both punt return duties, which is good because that's high points. And that's the ones that are scoring high in punt return bonuses. For tight end bonuses, this team, please don't run away from the tight ends as far as you can. Cincinnati's tight ends are not that great.
Well, if you're really needing one, I would go with Mike Gesicki if you absolutely needed one. But other than that,
yeah, don't touch them.
But another thing is what really is kind of confusing to me is you know, I don't know, lost my train of thought now because it does make me so upset. Either way, it ain't important. We're just gonna keep rocking with it.
All right. Well, we got the final team to talk about of the Great North Division.
So, who is your one person you would pick from the
Chase Brown, same guy you picked.
Okay, I remember now. All right.
I'm gonna kick off this one since you got to kick off the Bengals. We know which great team we're talking about. The guy that has the next greatest Cooper Rush is going to be the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. No, they picked him up in a trade. They got him. Cooper Rush is now the backup for Lamar Jackson. We all know the only time Cooper Rush is going to go out there if Lamar has to take a dump or something. We've seen that happen during the season.
Well, hey, Cooper Rush can run though. I have seen it. But not as good as Lamar.
Hopkins was an interesting pickup from Kansas City. So, so I was not expecting that. We know Rashad Bateman's still there, and Zay Flower not been exciting, not been the guys I want. But the Hopkins is interesting. I'm interested about that. But at the end of the day, I think I'm more looking at the tight end room. I think this is the year that we'll probably see the final step off of Mark Andrews and the step up of Isaiah Likely. Said that last year, didn't get it quite there, but I think we're getting closer. There was a little bit more shared room. Actually, Isaiah Likely is not a bad tight end to have. The rest of the tight ends in that room, like Charlie Kohler, Zaire Mitchell Payton, and Sam Pitts. Yeah, the ones you need to be looking at is Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. You probably got that look. You're like, okay. Defense, exciting. I think the player I'm going to pick out of all these guys, I'm going to go on a defensive side of the ball, and I'm going to pick up the free safety. Malik Starks should be your grab. He's a starter, free safety. I think that'd be an interesting pick. I think he's going to do very well in scoring just because the whole Baltimore defense, most Baltimore players score high. I think for an IDP league, he's going to be great. Yeah, you got Raquan Smith and all them great guys there, but I think a safety like that could do a lot.
Yeah. I don't have no arguments with that. I was going back and forth between him and another person on defense because I really like him too.
But, and I also think it's interesting this year that Baltimore's taking the stance of splitting the punt return and kick return with 2 players. Normally, most Baltimore teams has always had one set guy. And in the past, it's always been a one set guy. This year, they have actually rotated it out between Keaton Mitchell and the rookie, LeJohntay Wester, which he was drafted in the 6th round. But interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see that coming. And in the running back room, we all know the guy, Derrick Henry, the king, is still there. But someone that's not been getting a lot of love lately, and he's kind of fell off the whole radar since the great Derrick Henry's been there, that's Justin Hill. Justice Hill was really good, and he did a lot of stuff prior to Derrick Henry, but he kind of faltered off because you got Derrick Henry. I mean, until Derrick Henry falters off, you don't really. I mean, what else can you say? And the wide receiver room is nothing to be like, oh, I'm excited to have it. Sorry. I should have not been that sarcastic. But As I said, I'm gonna go with Mark's. I think that'd be the best one to pick up. Malik Starks. Everybody knows Derrick Henry's top. I mean, why would I even say that? And Lamar Jackson, I'm not going to name no quarterback because we know he's a great quarterback and he would be great to have on your team. I'm trying to
I
give
mean,
you a player,
he
go
would
out
be
there
the
and sneak it.
obvious one.
Yeah. So obvious one, and to help you guys out for offense, if you don't have a defensive player team, I should be fair. If I was picking from all these guys, other than Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, I would say if you're out playing in a redraft or a startup, I would I would not lead you to go pick one of the tight ends. That's dangerous because it's a back and forth. I would say Hopkins would be an interesting offensive pickup. See what he
Okay.
does on the receiving. Because I mean, Lamar's not a bad passer. He can get it. It's just the current receivers, the way he does it, it's just not consistent enough. Just it's my opinion.
Yeah, so I agree with a lot of it. Mark Andrews' last two Raws this year, I believe. And Derrick Henry is obviously I will still get him in redraft. Dynasty, I wouldn't now if you're just really needing him, if you're like filling out your roster and you already got a young running back that's gonna be your future in your dynasty, then yeah, I would pick him up. But Derrick Henry is gonna be more for like your contending teams. So if you're a rebuild team and you have him, he'd have good value by trading to somebody who's so close to reaching the fantasy Super Bowl, and they just need that one running back to get them over the edge. But that defense I think is gonna be, the Ravens defense has been pretty good. Yeah, they've had a couple of years here recently where they kind of fell off a little bit, but historically, Baltimore has always, for the most part, has had a good defense. And I think it's improved. It's going to be improved this year, especially with all the draft picks that they picked, because they picked a lot of players on defense this year. But then again, it was a heavy defensive draft this past year. So on offense, I'm gonna throw out one guy because you went receiver. You went with Hopkins, which is an interesting pick and could be good. But I'm gonna go a little bit of different route. I'm still going in the same group, but I'm gonna pick Zay Flowers because I think him and Lamar has got it. They're clicking. They're clicking really good. They've actually made a good connection last year. Zay Flowers actually did really good this year, this past year, and I think they're gonna build on that along with DeAndre helping them out. Teaching them all the things he knows. So I personally like Zay Flowers on offense. You can go with DeAndre too, but I like Zay. And then on defense, I'm gonna have to go with. I ain't gonna go with the obvious one like Roquan. I'm gonna go to the other safety side. He's gonna be playing on the opposite side of Malik. I'm gonna pick Kyle Hamilton.
Well, that's a good pick. He was
I'm gonna
top notch last year.
I'm gonna pick Kyle Hamilton because for one, I'm actually gonna buy his jersey. I haven't done it yet, but I'm actually gonna buy his jersey because
Why would you waste your money?
so not this past year, but the year before, he was my last player left, and I needed to get like 20 something points in order to make it into the fantasy Super Bowl. And he was my last player. And that game he had I think a total of 3 interceptions that game.
Oh wow.
So I got more than what I needed, and he was basically my playoff MVP that year. So that's the reason why I want to get because I also I'm a Cowboys fan. Don't get me wrong, but I'm also a fantasy guy, and I also like getting. I like to in the playoffs. I ain't gonna do it in the regular season, but it's got to be a special. It's got to be a special moment and a special time because that was during around Christmas. It was around Thanksgiving, around Christmas, in our fantasy playoffs when this happened. So it was a very magical night for me, very magical moment. I was pretty happy for me. So, in my honest opinion, and my fantasy wall and stuff, his jersey is gonna go up in my book because he was my MVP that year, and I really like it for that. So, but on defense, that's who I would go with because he's a really good solid player on defense.
Oh, that's a good pick.
So now
Now we're going to talk about who we think's going to win the division. So
I'm gonna go. I'll let you can name yours off first, but I'm gonna go a step further. I'm gonna tell you the order that the division is gonna end this year.
Oh, are you? Okay, so let's write this down here. Okay, we're gonna be fancy-fied here to say the order and the winner. So if you're gonna do that,
let's
I'm gonna do that. So
let's raise up the stake.
let's raise up the stakes. Okay. Keep losing my earbuds. All right. So let me think about this here. I can tell you right now,
Go ahead.
there is no doubt in my mind that Cleveland Browns will win it all. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God!
That was
I
a woo
I
for
can see
you.
the riot now.
All right, so I think the Bengals here. How about this? Well, I done gave it away. I already said it. So my first team that I think is going to win will be the Bengals.
Okay, so you
And the
got the
second
one.
right behind them will be Ravens.
Okay, two.
And then right behind them would be the Steelers. And I believe the Browns will finish last in the division for the North AFC.
Okay, so ours is practically it's not going to be the same,
Oh, why
but
not?
but I actually have I actually have the Ravens winning it, and then I have the Bengals second, and then I got the Steelers third, and then I got the Browns last. And I only think two teams in this division is going to the playoffs.
I
I don't
believe
think I think this year is going to be Mike Tomlin's first losing year. And
you don't think
I think Pittsburgh Steelers are going 8-9, so that's the reason why I got them third.
I honestly, if we're going to go that way, you only think two's going to make it, right?
Yeah, I only think Baltimore and Cincinnati is going to win it, go into the playoffs.
I think the Steelers will be able to slip in with a what is that called?
Oh, the wild card spot.
Yeah,
Okay, so you got three then.
yep. I have Browns sitting out. Sorry, Browns. Nothing against you, but you still got a lot of work over there.
Yeah, there's not much to know about you right now.
So, all right. If you guys like the content, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And what do you always say, Austin?
Make sure you share because sharing is caring.
That's right. Sharing is caring.